Hey everyone, welcome to Daily News Analysis for January 5th. Let's look at the important news that may be relevant for your competitive examinations. There are several legal news, several national and international news that may be of relevance, and you might find it as a passage in your common law admission test and other law entrance examinations. The first news is regarding an eviction order. Supreme Court will hear petitions of Haldwani residents who are facing eviction after a High Court order. There is a land that belongs to railways and there are people residing in that. So an eviction order has been passed. Now these people will get homeless and there are school going children who will suffer a lot. So that petition is being heard now. So a Supreme Court bench of Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul and Abhay Oka is scheduled on Thursday to hear the petitions challenging an order passed by the Uttarakhand High Court to evict poor families whose tenements spread over 29 acres of land are said to belong to the railways at Haldwani in Nainital. A bench led by Chief Justice Chandrachud agrees to list the case on Thursday after advocates Prashant Bhushan and Vipin Nair, appealing for the affected petitioner residents of these areas, requested the court to hear the case on an urgent basis. The court directed the railway authorities and the district administration to even use paramilitary forces to remove the occupants from the land. So, in the petition, it has been said that ours is a welfare state and where governments authorities need to work towards the well-being and prosperity of the citizens. In this case, they have proceeded without following due process to issue ex parte orders against the practitioners, petitioners, and produce arbitrary demarcations report. Such an approach shows an absolute disregard to procedure of law and is in complete violation of basic humanitarian and fundamental rights. So it remains to be seen what comes what the judgment says after it has been put up before the Supreme Court. Regarding the this news is coming from Allahabad. Supreme Court has a stayed order that has allowed the UP local body polls without OBC reservations. So Chief Justice Chandrachud says that why should we say the dedicated commission will not recognize a new category of politically backward communities? We don't want to inject the commission. So the Supreme Court has stayed an Allahabad High Court direction to the state of Uttar Pradesh to hold local bodies elections without reservations for other backward classes. To hold elections without reservation, that would not be a satisfactory state of affairs. Solicitor General Tushar Mehta for UP said the direction, if implemented, would mean that one segment of the state would remain unrepresented. So this news we have already discussed in one of the previous sessions. So now the order has been stayed. The Allahabad High Court order has been stayed. A tribunal in India has declined Google's plea to block Competition Commission of India's Android ruling. Please understand what happened earlier, then we'll come to the present status. In October, the CCI, the Competition Commission of India, they had fined Google, Alphabet Inc., that is Alphabet Inc. is the company, Alphabet Inc.'s Google, $161 million for exploiting its dominant position in markets and asked it to change curbs on smartphone makers related to pre-installing apps. Google counsel Abhishek Manu Singhvi repeatedly pushed for putting the decision on hold, saying the CCI's decisions will force the firm to change its business model and harm the consumer interest. However, this Indian tribunal has declined the request by the Google to block an antitrust ruling that ordered the tech giant to change its approach to the Android platform, dealing the US firm a setback in a key growth market. There is a high powered Ladakh committee that is being formed. So, on January 2, the Ministry of Home Affairs constituted a high powered committee that was chaired by Minister of State for Home Nityanand Rai for the Union Territory of Ladakh. So, essentially, to protect the culture, to protect the tribal people of Ladakh, this committee was formed to look into the affairs of the tribal population there. However, the members of the new committee state that the Minister of Home Affairs order instituting the committee is not clear and why was it formed. It avoids any mention of the primary demand for the inclusion under the sixth schedule of the constitution. Now, what is the sixth schedule? The sixth schedule under Article 244 of the Constitution protects the autonomy of tribal population through creation of autonomous development councils which can frame laws on land, public health and agriculture. As of now, 10 autonomous councils exist in Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. As per 2011 census, the total population of Ladakh was 2,74,289 and nearly 80% of them are tribals. The sixth schedule under Article 244 of the Constitution protects the autonomy, as I already mentioned. And so the background is that in 2020, the People's Movement for Constitutional Safeguard under the sixth schedule of the apex body, LAY, was formed. They announced that they would boycott the upcoming district autonomous council elections if their demands were not met. The representatives, which included former BJP Thomson Chwang and Skypage Khombo, were called to Delhi for a meeting with Home Minister Amit Shah, following which they were called off to boycott call. They were assured that the discussions would commence after 15 days of the culmination of elections. In the same year, the apex body and the Kargil Demarcation Alliance from the two districts of Leh and Kargil and Ladakh came together to jointly fight for the constitutional safeguards for the region. The government stand is that they are not keen to give any special status to Ladakh, and the Ministry of Home Affairs has informed a parliamentary standing committee recently that the objective for inclusion of the tribal population under the sixth schedule is to ensure their overall socio-economic development, which the UT administration has already been taking care of, and that sufficient funds are being provided to Ladakh to meet its overall development requirements. A report tabled in Rajya Sabha on December 13, 2022, quoted Ministry of Home Affairs officials that the Ladakh administration recently increased the reservation of scheduled tribes in direct recruitment from 10% to 45%, which will significantly help the tribal population in their development. Two legal news coming here. Justice Nazir has retired. You must have heard about this case where he talked that there was nothing wrong with demonetization, nothing illegal in demonetization. And then another news that we discussed yesterday on 4th of January regarding that how the free speech cannot be curbed of the ministers. So after giving these two judgments, Justice Nazir has retired. Justice Nazir's retirement came after two back-to-back judgments in which a constitution bench he had upheld this week the 2016 demonetization process and declared that there was no need to impose additional restrictions on the free speech right of ministers, MPs, MLAs, and other leaders. Justice Trivedi recuses herself from Bilkis Bano case. As you might be aware, that this 11 men were sentenced to life imprisonment for gang raping Bilkis Bano and murdering her family during the 2002 riots, where their setting free was challenged, and the petitions were filed by several individuals, including CPIM leader Subhashini Ali, Trinamool leader Mahua Mitra. Justice Trivedi had earlier recused from hearing a writ petition filed by Ms. Bano herself challenging the premature release. The bench, led by Justice Ajay Rastogi, tagged the third-party petitions of Ms. Ali and Ms. Moitra with that of Ms. Bano and ordered the case to be listed whenever Justice Trivedi was not part of the bench. So, Justice Trivedi will not be part of the Bilkis Bano case. So, these were some important news that were relevant for January 5. We had this news regarding the eviction. The Allahabad High Court order has been stayed. We had this news regarding that Supreme Court has again stayed the order, allowing the UP local. Here it is the Uttarakhand High Court was High Court order. This matter is listed before the Supreme Court. Here it's Allahabad High Court. This has been stayed. Here we have this Google. The tribunal has declined Google's plea. Then we have this high-powered committee on Ladakh, and then we have one judge retiring and another recusing self from Bilkis Bano case. That's all for right now. Thank you so much. See you in the next session with more set of news.